Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, 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 everyone. I'm Gejo. I have with me GP here. So the agenda is that I think a few days ago we had put this community post asking you if you have any questions to us. Arks, GP, and me. Unfortunately, Arks is traveling, so if there is any specific question to Arks, we'll ensure that he creates a video around it. So there are 27 questions that we got when we, I don't know whether there was any more question that got added. So we'll pick one question and answer those questions, ladies and gentlemen. So, okay. So here is a question, GP. So till now, my mock scores from the last three mock is above 105, but I'm not able to score more than 3 to 4 in quants. I score RC 24 to 25, but that seems like amazing score. Huh? CR 20 to 21. I think legal around 28 to 30. GK 30. Now that I have only 17 days left, so we have much less than that now. I think we have got 12 days. What should I do for quants, and what could be the expected cutoff for this year, as is happening nearly with boards?
Okay. Okay. First of all, I don't think we need to worry about what the cutoff is going to be. Okay. So if Navya is looking at some kind of a consolation that the cutoff is likely to fall, Navya, it could happen. It may not happen because this is a function of the level of difficulty of the paper. But the good thing is, given the level of difficulty of last couple of years paper, you are above that required score for getting a call from NLS Bangalore. That's the first thing. So that's the good news. And the better news is you have a scope of improvement in quant. So you can easily go to a 110 plus. So while you might be worried, I have got only 3-4 marks in quant, I'm saying look at the positive side. Yeah, there's a significant scope of improvement for you. And for the improvement, the only thing you need to do is look at the last 2 years Clat papers, those 6 sets of data, and all the mocks, those data sets. Please do all these data sets once, twice, thrice. That should be more than enough. Okay. If you do them 3 times, I'm sure by and large you'll become comfortable. I'm assuming you have sufficient time to do this section. And it is not that you'll have to create time to do the questions from the section. For example, if you say you have only 7, 8, 5, 6 minutes left and that you do one set, I'm saying you're doing fine. Don't worry about it. But if you say I have got about 12, 13 minutes left in the paper, I'm able to hardly do one set, then you will be able to do another set. And I don't want you to increase your speed or rush through the other sections to improve your score in quant, because the other scores are very, very good, and you need to make sure you don't mess up with those sections in trying to improve the quantitative aptitude section. Okay. I hope that clarifies your doubt, Navya.
I think that's perfect, GP. That's perfect. We have the second question. Okay. I'm scoring around 50. Can I increase up to 120? Now, I don't know whether this question is for Clat 2022 admission or it's for next year's admission. If it was next year's admission, answer would be yes.
Yes.
But for this year's admission, I don't even think that's the right question to ask. Why should you look at 120 for the first place, right? I think a better way to look at is if let's say my take is that if you're looking at 50, practically there is no contribution coming from maybe from GK as a section,
Yes.
or so maybe I'm guessing that I think if you look at quant as a section that's got 15 marks, GK 35 marks, that's about 50 marks. Then you've got 100 from the reading section. I think that you can pick up a couple of areas, GK for sure, and maybe one more area, maybe legal, to see if we can push it to another 40, which I think it is. So though we have about 10 odd days with us, if I can still work hard on this area, you can look to see improvement. But 120, I think, realistically speaking, well, that is too much of a stretch. At least in 10 days, that's my take.
Yeah, I would say look at the reason why it is 50. If it is lack of knowledge of GK, then that nothing is going to change in that portion. So areas which you can hope to improve are going to be quantitative techniques, what I talked about a little while ago for Navya, and the 3 reading sections. So if I was in your place and let me assume my GK is poor, I would say let me in those 100 reading questions, which is English, logic, and legal. Even if I spend, let's say, out of 120 minutes, even if I have to spend 90 minutes or even 100 minutes, can I get a score of about 70, 75 out of those 100? Then you have a fighting chance of getting into a good law school. I would not assume 50 to 120. I would start by saying in the next 1 week, can you go from 50 to 80? and then look at a 80 plus or 90, 95 at the time of Clat. If you can cross 90, you will get into a good law school. But so I don't think you should set unrealistic target.
But if you're taking the CLAT sort of next year, which is in December, then story is very
There's
different.
ample time.
Yep. How to differentiate between main idea and conclusion? I may face many problem in it. Okay, so this is so. So when you look at, I'm guessing this question is from critical reasoning. So when you look at any argument, what you have in an argument is author trying to prove something by giving reasons or justification for whatever claim the author is making. So for instance, I would say law is a great career because lawyers make a lot of money. Now, lawyers make a lot of money is justification that is used to come to the conclusion that law is a great career. Therefore, when somebody is asking what is the main idea, merely they're asking what is the main point of the argument, right? So when it comes to conclusion, you have to understand from this perspective, right? The author has given an argument. An author may have already given a conclusion to that particular argument. Now the question can be asked, which of the following is the main conclusion? So if the question is asked, which is the main conclusion of the author, then that is question is merely asking you to identify the conclusion the author has already made. So that is very similar to main idea stuff. But if you're looking at which of the following can be inferred from the passage, then that's a different story. That means what is true based on the information that is given. For example, if I say A is greater than B and B is greater than C, I can combine both of them together and draw an inference that A is greater than C. I can also make immediate inferences. I don't need both the sentences. For example, if it's A is greater than B, I can conclude that B is less than A or A is not equal to B. I'm just giving an example. So when you look at inferences that you draw, that merely says which of the following is true based on the information that is given to you. But when somebody is asking, identifying the main idea, that's the main argument. Identifying the main conclusion, then it's similar to the main idea. So I think that's what I can do. If I don't know if anything extra is there. Uh, in the last days of for legal, whether to focus on question solving or reading legal stuff, GP.
Frankly, to me, I'm indifferent to both. Last few days, you need to be in touch. Yes, the reading in any case is helpful. Whether you read legal stuff or otherwise, I'm okay with both of them. The advantage of reading legal stuff would be that you'll possibly imbibe some of that logic, and that could also be a huge disadvantage because the passage which you get may have a slightly different logic, and you may get confused. So as long as you can compartmentalize and you are focusing on reading and generally preparing, it is fine. I would always want you to do a few questions on a daily basis because that groove of being in the question and solving within a given time is that rhythm is extremely important. So if I have to choose one of them, I will go for solving questions rather than reading. Ideally, I will read as well as solve questions.
Yep. There you go. Question number 5. The guided one has a question. What's the basic, or at least how many words should one know that he can do the English section well? And does CLAT require high vocabulary? Can I still get to the top college when my mock scores are average? How much does my mock score indicates? I think probably one said it. So there are a lot many questions. So first is you're looking at words. How many? I can't tell you. For example, if you look at the passages that the cat has picked in 2020 and 2021, these are from editorials of Indian Express, Hindu. So whatever words that you see there, that's the vocabulary that you need to have. I don't think that you should need to have a complete amazing sort of vocabulary to deal with any of them. So if you can read editorial, possibly you can do it. I think that's what you should look at. And another thing is that average. I don't know what the score is, GP, but he says I've got average score. Can I make it to a top college? That's a question.
See, in the past, number of students who had average scores at the time of preparation surprised themselves on the day of the exam. So I will not rule out anyone. Okay, I can only say that yes, there's a possibility. How good that possibility is a function of how good you are going to, how well you are going to perform on the given day. So I will not rule you out. But to the previous question, does Clad require high vocabulary? Gejo has answered it, but my question to you would be: if you can understand what is written in newspapers, you know what kind of words are there. So no high level vocabulary is required as such. If you can understand newspapers, magazines, articles, you have sufficiently good level of vocabulary.
Yeah, absolutely. And please also, if you're looking at top college, I don't know what the top college means. I will also assume that you are taking other exams as well. There is LSAT India, there is Symbiosis Law Admission Test, there is MHCT that probably will happen. There is, so please do ensure that ALET, there is ALET. Please do also ensure that you, I'm assuming, hoping that you have applied to all those tests. Please do ensure that you take tests so your chances of making it to a law school is pretty high.
And the added complication of your state reservation is there. So the guided one could be from a particular state. Let's say he could be from Telangana, which has got a state reservation for Nalsal. He could get there at the lower score also. So difficult question. The second part, all I can say is, don't let your average mock scores impact you at this point of time. Put in the effort for the next 10-12 days, and you could surprise yourself on the day of the exam.
Wonderful. Sir, how to revise GK? How to revise basics of each subject in the last, now it's like 10 days now. We have, okay. I
So
think, so sorry, GP. Yeah.
yeah, everything out. You don't need to revise basics of anything now. If you have not understood something in the last 6 months, 9 months, 1 year of preparation, next 10 days is not going to. There's no bolt of lightning is going to strike you now. That certainly सब समझ आएगा नहीं होगा. So just focus on what you know. Practice your questions. And GK is unending. Keep doing GK. Keep revising GK. Keep doing the same question again and again. And as far as your other sections are concerned, keep doing papers and sections. That's all.
So when you revise the GK, keep a focus on your list, recent months. And that's what we have seen. So ensure that you do a March and April really well. February, of course. And I think that there is no end to this. But I think that you might have identified events, at least you've got a list. Somehow you've gone through a lot of things. You might have notes or may have resources. Just keep going back to them and keep doing that again and again. That's the best thing that you can do. Yeah. Will eliminating options in critical reasoning section be helpful for me? That's a
It is helpful for me. यार मेरे को मालूम नहीं लॉ पेपर के लिए होगा कि नहीं. See, this is an approach which you develop for yourself. So law prep, if it has helped you in the past, it will help you in the future also. If you have not been able to eliminate the option in the past and your technique is slightly conventional, then stick to it. Don't create a new technique 10 days before the paper. Do what has been working for you. No more experimentation required.
so essentially, when you read a passage, and if you comprehend the passage reasonably well, what you hope is one of the question is saying "pick me." So you read the question, one of the questions stands out and say "pick me." That's what you're hoping. If that does not happen, but you have no other choice but to look at if there are ditches. Is there any way I can eliminate certain answer choices? So eliminate as would of course in any essence would be a strategy for anything. For even if let's say quant, I still would like to eliminate answer choices, and that can also get me to the right answer. So either you eliminate three answer choices or pick the correct one. So if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It is not necessary it'll work every single time. Okay, but
Yeah.
that is definitely a tool that one should have. Uh, that's what I would say. Can 6 month preparation be able to take me to NLSIU? So I'm sure that this question is for someone probably taking the CAT in December 2023. So
Yes,
no.
I think the shortest answer among all the
Yeah,
questions that we have seen so far.
absolutely yes. So what do you have? 6 months. 6 months is a lot of time, right? So you have got one whole section of comprehension. Right? So that's whether you call it critical reasoning. I practically don't see the difference between critical reasoning and reading comprehension. For all practical purposes, more or less one and the same. You have got legal reasoning, which is application of the principle that is set out in the passage. So that is one which is reading. Quantitative technique does not have too much of stuff to do. The very basic thing, and you've got GK, which you can do regularly. So if you are prepared for 6 months, you should be able to take it to LSA. You only think that your preparation has to be systematic, has to be effective, addresses the right kind of skill set, and then I'm sure that it will not be an issue. Need sir motivational speech before the exam.
Yes, we'll
So
ask him to create one.
yeah, so
I'm very happy Harshit. We have asked to do it, not me to do it.
so we'll get uh, asked to do this motivational speech before the exam. Wonderful. Sir, how to tackle strengthen and weakening questions? If you have any short trick, then please share with us. So, Devil, I don't have any short tricks. All I can say is when you look at strengthening and weakening, what that essentially means is that somebody has already made an argument, right? And now you are presented with additional evidence, and you want to essentially look at whether that evidence impacts the argument, either by supporting the argument or attacking the argument. There are only three things that can happen. Either that evidence that is being presented is irrelevant to the argument, that doesn't do anything, or the evidence that is presented supports the argument, evidence that is presented attacks the argument. So the key here is when you have questions like this, when you're given an argument, it is about thinking about what possibly is a way to attack that particular argument. So if let's say question say which of the following weakens it, what is the possible
What
way
is
to attack? For example, if I make an argument saying that uh, let's say I uh, uh, so there is somebody who's saying that join my classroom course because you will make it to NLSA Bangalore, because last year many students who joined my classroom made it to NLSA Bangalore. So somebody's asking you to attack this argument. Now, if you want to attack that argument, you look at assumption. Assumption is that my training helped them do well in the course. So if there is some other reason as to why they did well in the examination, that will attack. For example, and evidence that suggests that the scores of the students before joining that training program was already very high, then that will attack the argument. So I'm just saying that there is no trick needs to be used here. Keep it very simple. Use your common sense. Use your basic logic, and I'm sure that you'll be able to nail these questions. How to remain calm during the clat? That's an interesting question. How to remain calm presumes that you're going to be tensed. Why will you be tensed?
Remind yourself that being tense is not going to be helpful. In the past, all the papers that you have taken, I'm sure when you were tense, you were under pressure, you have done all the wrong things. So keep reminding yourself कि tension लेने से कोई फायदा नहीं होता है. And I'm hoping that should work. At least that works for me.
I think the reason why you probably are not calm in the examination hall is probably because, let's say, you encounter a question or encounter something that is suddenly challenging to you. Maybe the question is challenging. Now you have to, at that point in time, just tell yourself, if it's challenging to you, it's going to be challenging for everyone. It just does not matter. It's a relative test. So if the paper is tough, how does that matter? If the paper is easy, how does that matter? If the paper throws some surprise, how does that matter? It doesn't matter. You have to ensure there is only one task that you have. You have a question on in front of you. You deal with the question. Keep on making good decision with every single question. If we can solve, we solve it. If we get confused, just move on to the next one. So and also knowing that you have done well, you put in all your effort, knowing that on that day you will be your best. So there is sort of remaining calm is just telling yourself you've done enough, right? And knowing that whatever you do would be very good. That's kind of enough for you to remain calm, I think.
Also, don't get overawed by the paper or the or that particular day. That's a huge exam. The question, how do I have to be extra careful? No, be as normal as possible. Okay, treat it like any other paper. Treat it like a mock, and don't get overawed. You find a difficult question, leave it, and be happy that there'll be some other people who will be attempting and wasting their time. Okay, so when you leave a question, don't panic. Tell, great, एक छूट गया. Now I have another 149 to worry about. पांच छूट गए, 145 left. That's okay. Don't be worried if you have to leave questions. I think that is where most of the time people panic. Shit, I have left 12 questions. So what? If you are leaving 12 after so much of preparation, others would be leaving 20. Okay. So remind yourself of this, and I'm sure things will work out.
Any smart way to revise important GK current CLAT specific other than CL weekly month-in of 26 weeks, which has sufficient data covering all the events happening in the last 6 months? Oh, that's a complicated sentence. So again, you're asking, is there anything other than what CL has given you? Why? Well, CL has given you enough and more. I think there is no point. At least in the last, first of all, you talk about 6 months. 6 months is what? You're going all the way back till what? December? Okay, fair enough. I think
December.
that,
Yeah.
yeah. GP, anything extra he has to do? Or
No. I think you do this much, it's more than enough.
Yeah, so maybe even look at the tests, the events that has come in the countdown mocks.
Hmm.
Do that and then do this much. I mean, but whether you use one source or another source, events are not going to change, right? I mean, it's the same event which everybody has put in different format and presented to you. So when you have those manthan which is created to you, time and tested, so why you want to unnecessarily do additional stuff in the last 10 days? How to avoid overthinking and overanalyzing while solving passages of the reading section, CNRC. So
Overthinking, overanalyzing. Go by your gut feel. Khushi, if as a habit you find that overthinking, overanalyzing is getting your answers wrong, that is an indicator to you this is what you should be doing. So read the passage, what strikes you first, mark it and move on. Some of them would be wrong, yes, some of them would be wrong. But in any case, because you're asking this question, I am assuming that overthinking, overanalyzing in any case is getting you wrong. So even if you get a few questions wrong here, you would have saved time, which will be helpful in the other sections. Okay, I don't. And my guess is that because overthinking and overanalyzing is giving you the wrong answer, your gut feel or the initial approach is likely to give you the correct answer.
yeah, absolutely. I think what is probably happening in your case is that you maybe say you got the question correct, or you think that answer choice is B. Then you're going, how is this possible? How am I getting this? Let me think more. So, for example, if you read four answer choices and one of the answer choices already telling you that's the correct answer, just mark it and move on. So what GP was saying. So if you're overthinking and overanalyzing, what is the outcome of it? Outcome is most of the time you're wasting time and unnecessarily wasting time and probably getting more confused. So just stop it. Just don't think. I think have that confidence that yes, I probably will make a few mistakes here and there, but I'm going to save a hell lot of time, and I'm going to trust my gut feeling, right? So there is the thinking is a waste of time. It's just like don't think. I mean, don't analyze. Analysis is good after the event is over. But once a clat happens, there is no need to analyze anything, first of all. So for the mock test analysis, you can do post mock test. But during there is no R&D, there is no research and development. You read a question, read the passage at the pace of a comprehension, go to the question. If answer choice is saying B, then you mark B and move on. That's it. Hello, sir. Should we be
Okay,
flexible in changing the
last
sequence
six
of
months, Manthan,
which one? Which one of the question did I miss anything?
the previous one, Jijo. I think it got skipped. Yeah,
Oh,
question
I
14.
missed. Okay. Huh. I
Jijo,
have
can you go
barely
back a couple of slides? Just go back a couple of slides. One more. Yeah, this is what you need to do. Just question 12.
this one.
Yeah,
12. Huh.
CL weekly Manthan of 26 weeks is what you need to do now. How much of it you can cover in the next 10 days, I don't know. But you could start from the latest one. Let's say start from the 15th. Yeah, start from end April and go backwards and see how much you can cover. At best, you can go up to 15th of May. Just go
Yeah.
to question 14 now.
So you have to essentially start from the, let's say, around end April for sure, or maybe worst come to was 15th of May and go back. Don't start from December and come this side. Start from this and move back. I have barely studied GK this year. First of all, that's a question why. GK is an important area. What should I do to at least decent score in CA? So the decent score in CA means what GPA just said. Hello, sir. Should we be flexible in changing the sequence of attempting according to the difficulty or easiness of any section in the final CAT paper, or should we stick to what we are already doing?
How would you know that the section is easy or difficult without attempting it? So when we say a section was easy or difficult, that is gyan which comes after the paper, not before the paper. No? So all I will keep doing is, as I always say, that I start solving the paper in whatever I decide, sequence or way I decide for myself. If it's a difficult section, I'll probably end up doing the section faster because I'll be leaving quite a few questions. Okay, and then I'll have more time for the others. But to me, I'm not sure how you can identify that the section is going to be easy or difficult before the paper. That I am not able to understand.
Yeah, even what does difficult even mean? So how is a section is difficult? You have got, let's say, 5 passages or 6 passages. Are you saying that every single passage is difficult? So what do you mean even difficult? At the end of the day, what makes a passage difficult is the options that is created. So this idea that a section is easy or section is difficult is something that you should not worry about. Stick to your, like GP said, stick to your normal process. Make decisions on individual questions. Which means if you're getting confused, just move to the next one. If we can answer, just answer. So don't. Your flexibility is just to the extent of dealing with saying that so for example, how do you look at, if let's say if you don't have any preconceived target or preconceived notion, there is no need to be flexible at all. Flexibility happens when you have preconceived target, preconceived notions about what the test is. So your favorite area, this area, just go and start with whatever order that you've decided, and start with the question number one. Keep on making decisions. And if section 10 turn out very easy, like what GP is very difficult, then that means I'm not going to solve most of those questions anyway. So you have a lot of time to do something else. Please help with CR questions. I have been trying really hard, but that's the only section where I'm not able to score more than 16 or 17. Realistically speaking, in 7 days, let's accept wherever you are. Right. Uh, I'm of course assuming that you are taking the Clat now. In about 10 days, assume where you are and then accept it and then figure out. So anyway, if you are able to manage about 15, 16, let's say you talk about 15, right? I still have 40 questions of legal and 30 questions of reasoning. That is still 70. Even if, let's say, I get from the 70 question about 50, I'm still about 65. I can still look at 25 odd questions from GK. That makes me 90, and 10 questions from maths. That's 100. I think you can still create plan. You just need to understand that if you get a roadblock in one of the section, I can still work around it. There is no need I can work around it and figure out what other ways I can reach the desired score that I need. Yeah.
Yeah, but Shweta, if there's something you want to do, I would say first of all stop worrying about it, because you will be worrying about it when you are attempting the paper. And this is my weak area. I can assure you, you will end up wasting a lot of time in the section. Secondly, from a practice perspective, pick up your last 5, 6, 7 mocks, whatever time you have. In each of those mocks, identify those 2, 3, 5 questions which were the problem areas for you, and maybe solve all of them again. So let's say 10 mocks, 6 to 7 questions. You're talking about 60 odd questions. Do those 60 questions couple of times. Hopefully, things will improve for you. No guarantee, but that is exactly only thing what you can do. Another thing, as I said, is don't panic. Accept the fact this is my weak area, and try to do better in other sections.
Yeah. Okay, that's a
Wow.
long question. Sir, coming after giving CDC 24 legal passages was lengthy, so attempted only 6 passages, 30 questions. Little nervous about legal section since it is the strongest section of mine, as well as others also I know. So how to manage if the same level of difficult passages comes on the D-Day, because my 35% of the marks come from legal section. Please help and assure me. I know it's not possible to anyone to tell me what's come out, but as a mentor, if the legal section will be tough, how do the manage the same? Okay. So this is yeah. First of all, if the passage is tough, then you accept it's tough, right? There is nothing I can do about it. But I also understand that it's like while I probably will get less than 35%. Everybody else is going to get less than 35% anyways. So your 35% of the marks is going to come from that, which is a reasonable sort of marks that anyone gets. So the only thing that you'll have to do is that don't have any favorites. Just enter the room. If it turns out to be difficult, just don't bother. Whatever is the marks that you get is good enough, because at the end of it, it's just a relative test, right? So you just have to be calm and handle the test. That's what I would say. GP.
No, exactly. If it is difficult for you, it is going to be difficult for others also. The scores for everyone will go down. It won't matter at all. Don't let this bog you down. My strong section, I have not done well. If you have not done well, others would have messed it up completely. You will still be an advantage. Remember, a difficult legal section will be good for you because others will lose more than what you will lose. So if in a normal GK legal section, let me assume you get 32, 33 marks. Okay, you will possibly from 32, 33 come down to 24, 25, 26, maybe 28 on the higher side. Others will probably fall, you'll lose by about 7, 8 marks. Others will lose maybe 10, 12, 15 marks. So, relatively speaking, you'll be better off with a more difficult section. Remember, easy, if it's an easy section, you will probably go up from 32, 33 to 37, 38. Others will also come closer to you then because that's an easy section. So if I'm strong in the area, I would always hope for the difficult section in that difficult section in my area, because I know I will still be able to manage. Others will mess it up.
Yeah. So the 24 legal passage length is we still did 6 passages, which is pretty
Yeah.
good, anyways. In 40 to 45 mocks sufficient before attempting Clat? My
Yes.
God, that that is okay. No, that's
Yeah.
like the
More than enough. Yeah. Not an issue at all, Sanjana.
I mean, according to me, in my mind, 30 is good enough. Like 40, 45 is like it has already passed my already passed my count.
Yeah.
How to start our Clat prep? As we know, beginning is always the hardest. We need to know how to start our journey so that we won't regret in the future. I think that this is probably somebody who is taking the Clat in December,
Yeah.
maybe later,
December or maybe next year also. 23 or 24.
23 or
Yeah,
24.
December 22 or December 23. We don't know which one. But okay. Yeah.
So I think the first thing is that please understand. So there is one knowledge bit, which is your current affairs, right? So for that, at this point in time, you have to start falling in love with getting information. So reading newspapers regularly, start with an habit, right? Second is that comprehension is a key. So build that skill. And more importantly, if quant, I think people who are there are students who perceive themselves to be weak in quant and just don't address it only. So whichever is a problem area, the challenging area, address those now. Build those skill set at this point in time, and then you're good to go. Yeah.
I would add one small thing to this. Start by taking a paper.
Yeah.
Most students will defer the paper to later. I say start with the paper. Don't worry if it instead of 2 hours, you do it in 3 hours. Instead of 2 hours, take a 3 hour paper. Do the same 2 hour paper in 3 hours. Without worrying about the time, it will give you a flavor of what the questions are, what kind of questions are asked, what is it that you need to do. So it will give you a first level thing. Okay, this is what the paper is all about. These are the kind of questions, and this is what I need to do. Then you start doing everything else. What Gejo said, GK, I think extremely important. That reading effort is required. Everything else is different. But to me, always the first thing is, यार एक paper करके देखते हैं आता क्या है paper में. Because once I know what is there in the paper, then I can understand how to go about resolving the issue.
Correct. And probably we will soon do a session for all the students taking in December 2022, which for the
Yeah.
2023 admissions. So I think I'm messing up this date because suddenly Clat changed those date to
Yes.
December 2022. It's like Clat 2023 is actually happening in December 2022. Okay. Sir, will the actual Clat rank differ from the mock ranks that we get?
So if mock ranks were so sacrosanct, why would they conduct Clad? They would ask us to give the mock ranks and give it to you and do the admission there. Yeah, नहीं होता ऐसा.
So, I mean, the number of people taking the mock test. First of all, only the serious kids take the mock test regularly. Clat is everybody's forced to take the test. Plus, it all depends upon how you behave on the day and please, okay. Let me put it this way, Shruti, is whatever is your rank in the Clat, it's going to be awesome. So let's push that. Okay. Sir, I'm not able to improve my critical reasoning score, which is around 10 to 12. Please suggest some way so that I can increase my score by 5 or 10. A lot of people have this concern of critical reasoning 7 days before the exam. I think uh, I don't know whether you are referring this based on a few tests which has been tough. It is possible that some of the mock tests that you have taken were genuinely tough. That is probably the reason as to why you stuck with this score. Or is it because your fundamentally certain concepts is not clear? If there is a way in which you can, if you have time and you want to improve it, I think one of the suggestions that I have is when you prepare for the Clat passages, you're doing one whole passage and solving, let's say, 5 questions. So you want to build the basic critical reasoning the skill set. I would probably even recommend looking at LSAT India critical reasoning questions, which comes in short passages that will build your critical reasoning skills. If you have the time, and if you're taking LSAT India, please do just take the test. You'll be anyway forced to solve critical reasoning questions for LSAT India. That would be one way to address it. Other way to address it, okay, so you're looking at 10 to 12. Don't make unnecessary guesses. Don't gamble too much. Read the passage at the pace of your comprehension. Pick up, mark the question that you're reasonably comfortable with. Maybe less negative marking will probably get your score by about 15, and then look at other areas. If overall game can be set up, that's what I would say. Sir, should I go for accuracy by giving more time to questions or increase number of attempts?
Actually, neither. See, that the answer was right is something you'll find out only later. Secondly, increasing number of attempts is possible only if the paper becomes significantly easier. You don't know what the paper is. You are assuming that this is the kind of paper. If you look at last 2 years of Clat, these two papers itself had a difference. Last year, the cutoff was, I think, NLS Bangalore was around 103. The year before that, it was probably 95, 96, Gejo.
Correct.
Okay. So you are assuming a certain kind of paper. Neither has to be done. When you enter the examination, now please forget about all strategies that you have created so far. All you need to do is look at the question, ask yourself, aata hai, mark karo. Nahi aata, leave and move on. End of the story. No other strategy. Now, if it's an easier paper, you will end up attempting more questions. If it's a difficult paper, you'll attempting fewer questions. So the only strategy I have for a paper is not increasing time, not increasing attempts. It is read the question, understand, mark the answer, move on, or leave the question, move on. There's no third strategy for me.
Perfect. Does speed reading help while doing passage related questions? I'm saying no. Okay. What does speed reading means? I can't be Eminem currently, no. I can't just read a passage fast and you're not going to understand anything. There is no such thing as speed reading. There is a pace. You have a pace of comprehension. You have to read at that pace. Then you'll understand it. So how will speed reading help? It is not going to help, for sure. Sir, my plan is mocks, GK revision, and concept practice, and I'm doing it with consistency. But sir, I'm not that scared. Like the boost hurried prep that comes in the last state isn't happening. Like, I don't know, it got cut. I think his plan is fine.
Hey, don't need to be scared. Don't worry that last minute rush is not happening. Does not matter. The best results come when you treat it like a normal paper. Don't create a hype around this paper or any paper for that matter. So you are doing fine, Ayush. I think you're on track.
So my reading speed isn't increasing. First of all, there is no need. Okay.
And it will not increase.
Legal highly variable, sometimes 30, sometimes 15, 22. That obviously because of level of difficulty of the paper. And irrespective of the question that you see, you probably would have decided a pre-decided scores. Don't have it. Like what GP had said a while ago. If it is tough, it's going to be tough for all. So all you have to do is don't make unnecessary gambles. If you're confused with something, just move on. English 20-25 range, which is fine. Legal 15 to 20, which is fine. GK 20 or 13, which is pretty good. Sometimes I leave it completely or I gain 5 to 7 marks. In the last mark, I got 15 on 15. But I left the whole logical. Okay, this is like... I end up taking 50 to 50 minutes for legal. GP, I think this is an easy problem to solve. You just have to follow GP's advice. What will you say?
No, I would say keep legal for the end first of all. Okay. Because ऐसा नहीं है कि in legal your scores are very high. It's a variable score between 15 to 30 or 20 to 30. Sorry, sometimes 30. Yeah. So I said 15 to 30. So on an average, you are getting something like 23, 24 marks. Okay, which is slightly on the lower side. And this is despite spending 15 extra minutes in this section, if not more. At least 10 to 12 minutes extra is happening here. Now, what that is likely to do is take away your time for the other sections. My suggestion to you would be, though it's a little late, Anika, I normally avoid asking to change the way you take a paper at so late in the preparation stage, but I will still recommend keep legal for the end. Now, in the end, if you have 40 minutes, that's okay. Instead of trying to do all 40 questions, try to do 30, 32, 30, whatever happens. Whatever happens in those 40 minutes is what you should be doing. The reason I'm shifting is one, you are taking away time from other section, your scores in other section hence can improve if you give it the right time. Second, if you give 40 minutes to legal, that overthinking, that overanalysis will vanish. You'll be forced to read the question, mark the answer, and move on. So that is what I would want you to look at. Even now, when I look at your scores, you seem to be somewhere around 90, 92 marks, maybe 95 marks. So you are likely to be about 90. And my guess is if we change this sequence, you will probably end up with a closer to 100 or maybe higher also.
Don't get stuck in questions. I think that's what is happening. When you're spending 50 minutes, you're just sitting and thinking about questions. If you're confused, just move on. That's the best strategy. How to comprehend a passage smartly and pick out the central idea, theme, conclusion in one thorough reading of the passage at our pace. No rereading. Okay, so this is sort of a long discussion that you can have. I think so. Please always understand every author has an agenda, right? You just quickly get to words, opinions that the author is sharing. Look at the words: should, must, statement of opinions in the passage. Authors' vishesh tippanis. Authors' choice of words which are opinion words. This is wrong, and then that reading, getting the crux of getting that. What is the author largely trying to prove? If you can understand that, I think you tend to understand the complete passage. I think maybe I should do a full session. You can check out some of the videos that is already available on YouTube. We can on comprehension that I've taken. I think that should help you. As a dropper, last year I was at one of the unfortunate exam center where no extra time was given to fill roll number details in OMR. If it happens again, how to tackle it?
See, no, the moment you enter the examination hall, you are seated, ask for the OMR sheet, tell them as per rules they are supposed to give it to you. That's the only thing you can do. Keep pestering them till they give you the OMR sheet in advance so that you can fill it up. And
also,
if they create an issue, ask them to connect with every center would have a Clat representative. Ask them to talk to him or her.
I don't think that there are not too much of information they anyway ask. I think they ask your roll number, test booklet number, and very few information. No, so if for some reason it happens, let it not bother you, right? And you just fill it up. It won't take much time. I think that probably about 5 minutes, maybe it's go and that's it. I think maybe in the next few mocks, do it for only 110 minutes. That might help. I don't know, but you can of course go by what GP suggested you. Okay, GP, that ends those 27 questions. I think we are meeting you on Friday. I think this will get posted on Thursday. That's what I'm assuming. So I should say we guys will meet you tomorrow to discuss what to do in the last 7 days, which will be probably a 5-minute discussion. Go chill.
Yeah.
So
and we need us to give a motivational video.
Yeah, ask motivation video. And guys, don't worry, you guys have put in a lot of effort. You've put in the effort. Remember why you started this journey. This journey would have made you, would have changed you, would have surprised you. And just go there, enjoy the process, and know whatever happens, we're all proud of you. Thank you.
Okay, all the best.